Well, we are live, and just in a couple of seconds. Oh, there you go, 8 o'clock. A couple of seconds, we should be seeing some people slowly but surely finding their way into the classroom, and I can see some of the names and things coming in real quick. First of all, guys, ladies and gentlemen, as people trickle in, I want to welcome you to the Superhero Academy classroom. I am super excited to be teaching this because this is something, today's class on scheduling and planning is something that I talk about and practice literally every day. Whether I'm talking about it with somebody, with a client, and making sure that they're staying accountable to their schedule and their plan and the plan that we've kind of come together with on a private coaching level, or whether it be the scheduling that I do every single morning. It's the fundamentals of success. It's the fundamentals of my own habits and how I kind of move forward on a day-to-day basis and how I make things come to life. And it really is the fundamentals of what it takes to make a big vision dream, something I know you guys have, come into reality, come and be a true thing that exists in this realm and in this time and space. So before we kind of dive in, I'm going to wait just a couple of seconds to let a little bit more people trickle in. We have a good number of signups for tonight's class, and I know not everybody is going to be able to watch it live and not everybody shows up, but sometimes it takes a little bit of a moment for people to load in. So in the meantime, what I want to tell you guys is that there's two things. Number one, there's a little bit of a delay, so when you guys ask questions, there is both True and Thomas here. I don't think you actually see them over here, but I do. But they're actually in the chat room on the side over here, and they're here to answer your questions. They're here to kind of field some of the questions, and I'm here to answer your questions at the end of this call, as well as offer you guys a very special opportunity and gift that I think you guys are going to be excited about. So the second thing I want to bring up is while we wait, I like to do a little bit of a grounding routine because I get a little bit antsy and kind of happy and excited to give some of these classes. But I know that many of you went to school today, maybe you started up on school, or maybe you went to work, or you just had a long day. And I think it's very important to ground down, to be in a present state when you're learning. And I think there's a lot of that should be happening in schools, but isn't. So in Superhero Academy, we make sure to ground down before every single class. So I want you guys to join me in closing your eyes and connecting to your breath just for a second. And forgetting all the things that happened today, all the things behind you, all the things that are going to be ahead of tonight, all the things you're going to learn in this classroom. And I just want you to connect with your body for a second. Through the breath, feeling everything from the bottom of your toes to the top of your forehead. Just letting go of any of the stress you had in the day today. And entering into full awareness, into the full now of this moment. Being present and open to shifting your habits potentially, to changing the way you plan and schedule, and just to stepping up into the better version of yourself today. So before we start, I love to know where people are coming from. Like, where are you guys coming from? Leave it in the chat. Who is here? Where are you from? What part of the world? What's going on? I'd love to hear a little bit more about you guys. So let me know where you guys are coming from. I know there's tons of people who signed up from, I saw some names that came all the way from Australia. I don't know if you guys are here yet or coming, but I'd love to know where you guys are coming from, and I know there's a little bit of delay, so in the meantime, I'm going to start. Okay, so scheduling and planning, the daily dance of what it takes to be successful, what it takes to be on the ball, what it takes to kind of keep your eye on the prize and stay focused on the missions that you have and the big vision dreams that you have, and then also the technique that it takes to making this happen on a day-to-day basis, right? The discipline that you really need to have and build for yourself so that you can do this every single day, taking one step every single day closer to that dream. So there's a lot of people who confuse the idea of, planning and scheduling. And they see them as the same thing, right? You plan something, and that's kind of like, you put that in your calendar, and you plan a day to, go out to the beach, or to go and see a friend, or to go watch a movie, and you schedule it in a calendar, right? And that's kind of true. There's no doubt about the fact that there is some kind of elements of scheduling in planning, and there's some kind of planning in scheduling, right? But they're actually fundamentally different things, in my opinion. I think that there are two interweaving practices that work symbiotically, and I want to start today by covering the difference between planning and scheduling. So let's dive in. Okay, so first off, the first thing you need to know is that planning is something that is happening on a vision mindset, okay? It's the vision that you have for your life, for the things that you're working on, for the ability to kind of foresee the future. It's the vision that you want to kind of realize over time. And that time scale, okay, when it comes to planning, in my opinion, is actually a long-term time scale. Okay, so long-term to me means anything beyond a year, okay? Or about, maybe, 12 months to 5 years to 10 years. Where do you want to be over time, right? And planning to me is something that is sacred in the sense that if we don't know where we're going, if we don't have a vision, then our day-to-day routine, our day-to-day schedule is kind of incohesive with some of the aspirations that we might have. So scheduling, on the other side of the coin, right, is very mission orientated, right? And what I mean by mission is that you, on a shorter term scale, right, in 3, 6 months, 12 months, you might have very specific missions that you want to see accomplished. So for example, if one of your things is I want to go on a vacation and I'm going in 3 months, or I'm going to go and I'm going to sign up for a new class and next semester or whatever it is, those are kind of the day-to-day routines that you guys are having so that you can make sure that you kind of move closer to a mission. So a vision is a long-term aspiration. It's kind of the lifestyle that you want to have over a long period of time. It's the goals you want to achieve over many moons. But the mission is, it's much more day-to-day specific, month to month, or month to month. It might be week to week. It happens on a much shorter time scale. So it's a short-term practice. Now, I get a lot of questions as to what am I planning? What are the plans at the Valhalla movement? What are the plans at Superhero Academy? Where is this all going? What are the intentions? And I think that what's an amazing thing is that I don't always know, but I definitely have put some thought into it. And how I put some thought into it is one of the biggest kind of secrets that has really changed my life. And that secret is actually something that happened to me 5 years ago on the Great Wall of China. So I was at the Great Wall, and I had kind of lost my identity. I'd sold my first company. I was traveling. I'd now been on the road for about a month and a half now, and I had just landed in China after backpacking Australia, And it was the first time I was in a part of the world that nobody really spoke English. There was very few people that I could interact with. And as I was there, I kind of was not the Great Wall. It was at this beautiful stretch of the wall, like one of the furthest pieces of the wall from Beijing, a 10-kilometer hike. And halfway through, I just had this download from the universe, this amazing clarity about something that I now call an impossible list. So I'm going to write that down. And the impossible list is a list of challenges that I wrote down that I wanted to see happen in my lifetime. I didn't know when they were going to happen. I didn't know like exactly how I was going to make them a reality, but all I knew is that they were things that I felt might have been impossible or improbable in my life. Not necessarily impossible in the sense that, like, you know, I don't know, I don't plan, it's not talking about going back in time here or time travel or jumping dimensions or something necessarily, although who knows if that's really possible or not possible. But I'm talking more about the impossible of, like, you know, one of my dreams is to be a scuba dive instructor by the time I'm 40. Now, if I didn't plan that, if I didn't write that down somewhere and write down why it was important to me and why I wanted to do it, chances are it wouldn't become a reality. Why? Because if you don't know where you're going, then how you ever expect to possibly get there, right? There's no doubt about the fact that you could live your life in a way that everything that happens to you and comes your way, you capitalize on that opportunity, right? You walk through the doors that are presented in front of you. But the reality is that you don't want to just walk through only the doors that are presented in front of you. You want to be able to walk through any door that you feel is right for you. And so that door, to me, is the impossible list. I wrote down this list of items that I really, really, really wanted to see happen, and it was super important to me to make that a reality. And I wrote down a list of things that I really wanted to start seeing in the next 5 years, and I started checking them off, and I wrote some things that I want to see in the next 10 years and 25 years and in my lifetime. And I have no idea when that ends, but I wanted to make that happen. And so that's a resource that, you know, maybe Yannick or True or Thomas can share with you. But the impossible list is something that really fundamentally changed my outlook, my plan in life. And it gave me a roadmap. It started to allow me to have the resource that I needed to see the future. And that's kind of where the ideas of Valhalla and building an education center and sustainability learning center and building an online school, that's where all of these things actually kind of came to life. I didn't know what I was doing and how I was going to do them, but they were written down kind of that day and over time. You know, yearly on my birthday, I actually go and revisit that. And on the other side of the coin, and let me just take a sip of water here. On the other side of the coin, when it comes to scheduling, right, I end up planning things out on a month, week, and daily basis. So on scheduling, you've got a month-to-month basis, you got a week basis, and you've got a daily basis, right? And I think it's super important for people to know what their goals are, not only long-term, but then to see and break those goals down into shorter-term timescape, right? So on a month basis, a week basis, and a daily basis. And I ask myself at the beginning of every single month, what are the goals, the main items that I can achieve right now that are going to lead me to this vision, that are going to lead me to the kind of the bigger picture that I'm trying to paint here. You know, it's almost like if I was painting a canvas, I know what the canvas I want to look like at the end, but throughout I have to start painting somewhere. I have to start painting some element at some time, and that's kind of that mission. And I do this on a monthly basis, and then on a weekly basis, and on a daily basis. I'll get down into the weekly and daily basis shortly, but I'm going to stick first at explaining how I come up with the process of planning the bigger vision, okay? And that process is actually just a very simple process for me. That process boils down to 6 questions. Okay. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. The 6 basic questions that I ask myself for any project that I embark on, for any vision that I want to see come to life, and for anything that I just imagine out from, like a dream that I might have had or some idea that popped into my mind. I immediately start going through the process of the 6 W's. Right? And the first W, the first thing that I ask myself is always the why. Why do I want to see this idea, this vision come to life? Okay? And the why isn't necessarily a plan, but it's more of like the driving force behind the vision, right? The driving force behind the plan is kind of fed through the why. If you're really connected to why you want to do it and it becomes really important to you, it's something that you cannot not do anymore. It's like it's something you absolutely have to make happen. And so that why is the first thing I ask about any plan that I make. Why do I want to see the picture of this canvas be this way? And why do I want this particular element within that too? So it's only happening on the big picture, but also on the individual items that I put on those lists. The next thing is the what. What are the things specifically? What are the tangible goals that I really would love to see happen in my life? Plant 1 million trees, build a sustainability learning center, open up an orphanage, have a family, be able to graduate school and go to, and build a 7-figure, 8-figure enterprise and run numerous organizations. These are all things that I had written down in my impossible list. And so I started listing them out pretty tangibly, right? And again, when I wrote the what down, I didn't know exactly how I was going to do it. I was just writing the things I wanted to do, okay? You don't need to know the road to Rome just to say that you'd want to get there. You're going to figure it out, okay? You first say why you want to go to Rome, then you pick Rome, and then you'll figure out this next step, which is how, okay? And I think the how breaks down into a couple of the other questions, really, which is, the where, the when, and the who, right? The where, when, and who fall into the how. They fall into the space of how you might get there, right? Who do you need to meet and who do you want to be surrounded by in your bigger vision? What kind of plan do you want to have? What kind of friends do you want to be surrounded by? When do you want to do these items, right? You listed a whole bunch of different items that you wanted to make happen, but if you don't give them dates, the reality is you're always going to push them off, right? Oh, I have this dream of like building this amazing Earthship one day. Okay, cool. When are you going to make that happen? Oh, I have this dream of going and visiting Costa Rica. Okay, cool. When? If you give it a day, it becomes more real. You're enabling yourself to actually plan what it takes to make that happen, to look up the flights, to figure out where you're going to stay, to figure out when, how much money you might need to save up to go. All those things happen because we make decisions. See, the fundamental core of planning is, in fact, not only that you have to plan, but that you have to make decisions. Decisions are the number one thing standing in between us and our dreams. The fact that we don't make decisions because we're worried about losing out. We're worried about the opportunity cost of like, oh, if I do this, well, then I might miss out on that. Or if I go here, this might not be the best place for me. And I believe that we are living the paradox of choice, which is that we believe that more choice is a good thing, right? We go to the store, more choice, it's phenomenal. But not really. More choice actually leads to more confusion. More choice actually leads to more of the sense of feeling that when we pick one thing, that we start asking ourselves whether or not we shouldn't have picked the other things instead. And so that breaks down our level of satisfaction with our decisions. But if you made a decision, okay, on this front of the who, what, where, when, how, why, and how, and if you just wrote those things down, whether you execute them or not long term isn't necessarily the point all the time. It's just a question of, did you think it out? And was this really important? okay? And you're going to be able to figure this kind of stuff out as you go, okay? So asking yourself where you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, where do you want to be in the world, where do you want to visit, where do you want to travel to, where do you want to have your office, where do you want to be able to work? You know, some people say, hey, I would love to work at the beach all the time. Okay, how do we get to the beach, right? The plan is a huge fundamental piece, and yet most of us spend so little time ever planning. We just go through the doors that are presented to us, and that's not like, what are the odds that those doors are the best doors for us? What are the odds that all the opportunities that come our way are the exact opportunities that are going to lead to exactly what we want to do in life, right? The truth is that we need to find our own doors sometimes. It's not to say that the opportunities coming our way aren't great. They are, but we need to find our own doors, and we need to be able to go through them on our own. And I think that's a fundamental difference in, you know, the way I approach life, and I think the way that the average person approaches life is that they're not really planning. And so to me, it's super important. So I like to think about the plan, okay, when you're planning, I want you to think about 1 year, 5 years, and I don't think you need to go further than that, okay? I like to write just other items that you don't have to write exactly when they're going to happen, but just write some of the things down you really like to see in the next 5 years, in 1 year, and in 5 years, okay? Okay, I'm going to skip that because of time. Now, once you figure it out, okay, what you want to do and so Tanya, I see you have a question. I'm going to get to those questions all at the end, by the way. Once you figured out what you want to do on a bigger vision scale, the next thing you need to do is start breaking this down into a shorter term plan. You want to break down your vision into smaller missions, right? Your vision into 3, 6, maybe 12-month goals that allow you to track your progress on a daily, weekly, and monthly scale, right? So I talked about that earlier. When I'm scheduling, I schedule certain things that I might want to see happen in different months. Like, so for example, this winter I'm planning on writing my first book. So I'm already planning for this stuff, and I had already kind of planned for this a while ago, but now I'm scheduling it in. I'm actually scheduling in the time that it's going to take me to actually do this stuff, okay? And what I start to do is I break down into a daily routine, okay? I break down into my calendar, and I'm going to draw a little calendar, how I'm going to operate on a weekly, monthly, and daily goal. So let me draw a little calendar here. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, right? So I just start breaking down my schedule. And my schedule is most important on 2 days of the week, in my opinion, because on those 2 days of the week is actually when all the magic happens. And at the beginning of the month as well, beginning and end of every month, because I actually do something very, very, very important for me to be able to sleep at night, very important for me to be able to kind of foresee the future, and very important for me to be able to kind of delegate and be able to communicate with the team of people that surround me. So there's 2 people involved, you know, in this classroom right now that are here to help me and that, you know, work alongside me at Superhero Academy, and I need to know what they need to be doing. I need to know what I need to be doing, what I need to be delegating, and I need to know what our highest priorities might be at any given moment. Okay? So at the beginning of the month, let's say this is the first of the month, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. What I do is I break down into something that's very, very, very important. Okay? And guys, I'm going to take a second here because I want you guys to write down something that you want to achieve this month and this week, okay? I'm just going to go get a little bit more water because I actually ran out and I'm getting very thirsty. So I want you to write down One thing that you really, really want to achieve this month, okay? Sorry about that. Okay. So one of the things that you want to achieve this month is basically the approach that I take on a very regular basis to figuring out the routine that I need to plan on a week-to-week basis. So let's say on the first of the month, I say I want to launch a new program. So at the first of the month, I say the biggest goal that I have is for Superhero Academy is that I want to launch a new program, a new classroom, a new thing that I could kind of get people excited about, that I can empower people. You know, one of the ideas, for example, that I'm working on right now is a boot camp. It's an in-person event that we would do in Costa Rica or in Bali or something. So I come up with this big vision, right? And I write down the one thing that I want to do this month. Now, what I also do is I start to write down some of the smaller goals that I think are really important to me as well, which is kind of threefold, okay? Actually, it's fourfold, really. And I start to put down these little items, these kind of symbols that I made for things that I think are really important in my life that actually help accelerate my career, that help accelerate my vision in every single sense of the word, okay? So the first symbol is I make a little circle, and it's for the number of new people that I meet. All right, I make a little circle so that I figure out what is the number one thing that I love to do in my life and in my business is I love to meet new people. I love to hear new stories, love to meet new faces, connect with new people around the world doing awesome stuff, whether they be entrepreneurs or somebody who's just a farmer and doing permaculture, whether it be a teacher, whether it be a 9 to 5, no matter who it is, whether it be a child, I love to meet new people. And I believe that every day that I meet somebody new is a successful day. Okay? The second thing I like to track is also very important. And I make it with the triangle symbol is how many times do I offer my gift? Offering my gift, which is the gift of teaching, the gift of like marketing and entrepreneurship, these are the things that I am incredibly passionate about. I love learning, I love applying what I learn, and I love kind of running an organization, I love being an entrepreneur, I love marketing and thinking about these different things, and offering that gift is my number one priority. Not only on a financial level, but it's also the number one thing that I enjoy doing, right? So for you, it might be art, it might be playing a sport, it might be your business or your idea, it might be teaching for you as well, it might be taking care of kids, you name it. you want to offer your gift, right? And a successful life is generally happening when you're offering your gift as much as possible, because that's what's going to make you happy. Okay? The third thing that I feel is very, very, very important that I mark on my calendar and I want to kind of create goals for every day is it's hard to read sometimes when I write, but content. Did I make a new piece of content? Well, for me, making content is a way of expression. It's a way of, it's kind of my form of art. I don't necessarily draw or paint. I do doodle, and I enjoy that while I talk to people and stuff. But for the most part, I love to create blogs, videos, websites, new kind of classes and programs, like things that help people, that inspire people, that educate people, and that I can conversate with people as well. And I enjoy that so much. It's just such a great feeling. But I also know that this allows me to increase my interaction with the potential new people who I've met, or the people who I've already met, and people who are already in my network. It allows me to offer more to kind of the community and to the world at large. And that content is just very good for my soul and just feels right all the time. And the last thing that I really do that I think is very, very, very important, and one day I believe I'll write the blog on the $27 whiteboard that made me $1 million, if not more. Okay, I'm going to write that blog one day, is because it's actually very much drastically changing my life. Is that I track how much money I actually make every single day, and I'm going to get into this. Didn't need to write it out. I mean, I think the symbol is pretty clear. I track every single night whether I met a new person, whether I offered my gift, whether I created a piece of content, kind of like this class, or an Instagram picture or meme or whatever, or a blog or anything, and whether I got paid for something that I delivered, a service that I had rendered. How many people in the world say, I want to be a millionaire? Right? I want to make $1 million this year. I want to be a millionaire. I want to make all kinds of money. I want to do all sorts of stuff. And it's not because I want to make $1 million to just spend on like a Ferrari. I want to make $1 million so that I can build an orphanage or build a sustainability learning center. But I have all these kind of altruistic goals, at least in my opinion, but they're also very selfish goals in many senses of the word too, that I feel are very important to me, and they're very important to my community, my tribe, the people at Valhalla, and the world at large. And so I would love to make $1 million. Yet, how many people know what it takes to really make $1 million? How much money do you have to make on a month-to-month basis, or a week-to-week basis, or on a day-to-day basis to make $1 million? Well, it's simple. 1 million divided by 365 comes out to $2,700 and about $2,740. Okay, so $2,740 a day. Now, that means if I'm working every single day, if I'm getting paid for something every single day as an entrepreneur, if I make $2,700, give or take, I am on pace to being a millionaire. If I'm making less, I'm not. If I'm making more, I'm on pace to be even more than that, right? But knowing that number is actually kind of an interesting fact. And the reason I find it an interesting fact is it allows me to gamify my life. It allows me to kind of create a little game on a week-to-week basis, a month-to-month basis in my scheduling that lets me keep track of how well and what score I'm doing. The score is not against anybody else. It has nothing to do with like my, me being, on somewhere on a social ladder. It has only to do with my vision, and I write down at the beginning of every month how much money I want to make that month and why I want to make it. So let's say, for example, this month my goal is to make $18,500. I have no shame in saying that I want to make $18,500. Why do I want to make $18,500? Well, it's actually because I want to be able to invest in a well that we're going to be able to put and drill at Valhalla. And if I'm able to make that money now, I'd be able to make this well earlier and sooner rather than later. And I think this is incredibly important. Okay, to know how much money you want to make in a month is actually incredibly empowering, and because of that gamification element, it makes it more fun. Okay, and what I started to do is that every day I track all of these things. So let's say on Monday the 2nd, I met a new person. I would put a little circle. I offered my gift to 2 people, so I'd put 2 triangles. I made one piece of content, let's say an Instagram post, then a meme that I made on, Typorama or whatever. So I put a check mark, and then let's say I collected $500 because I had a new sign up to the apprentice level program, the Be Your Own Hero class, right? $500. So I literally write $500. That's the second day of the month. I'm $500, and then what I do is I write down the goals of all of these things monthly. So let's say 18,500. Okay, I want to make 30 pieces of content. I want to make at least 30 offers, and I want to meet 30 new people. Okay, and if I made $500 that day, what I actually do is I knock that $500 off the total. So I literally actually eliminate this, and I put now I only have 18,000 to go. And I slowly but surely try and get my way to zero with all of these. So if I knock these all off, I start crossing these out. I say 29, 28, 29, and 18,000. And I do this every night. It takes me 30 seconds to a minute. I just think about it. Sometimes I write the names down of the people who I met. Sometimes I write the names down of the people who I offered to. Sometimes I keep track of the content that I create. Sometimes I have to send it out to other people, but this allows me to know that these are the 4 things that are important in my life to moving forward, right? By doing this, I also built something different. Like, for example, I don't want to work every day, right? I don't want to work 365 days a year. I want to have every Sunday off, for example. So I now need to remove 52 days in the year. I also want a 30-day period where I'm doing no work, where I'm purely on vacation. I like to travel and work, and that's one thing, but I want to have other days, 30 days in my month or my year, that I'm completely off. So by removing 52 days out of the year and then another 30 days, okay, I kind of divide a million by that, and I get up. My monthly goal or my daily goal is probably closer to 3,500. Now, I'm not at the point right now where what I am offering and what I am doing is reasonable for me to make $3,500 a day. It's just not I'm not at that scale yet. And as I build that, as I build Superhero Academy, as I build the marketing agency and Valhalla and all these things, that is becoming more and more of a reality. What I can tell you, though, is $18,500 is very much in my scope. Here's the thing, though. It wasn't in my scope just a couple of months ago. Just a couple of months ago, I wasn't doing this. I was doing this on some scale. I was doing it kind of haphazardly. I would think about it at night, and I would kind of do a gratitude practice of like, oh, who did I meet today? What do I do? And I was doing it in my mind. But the second I wrote it down, and in fact, scientifically, if you write it down, you are proven to be 42% more likely to achieve your dreams if you wrote it down. Wow. So if I say I want to make $18,500, I am 42% more likely to achieve that if I write it down. Why wouldn't you write it down? Why not take a moment to buy a whiteboard or to put it in your digital calendar or in a physical agenda of some kind and write these things down? Now, this is what I consider important: meeting new people, offering my gift, creating a piece of content, and making collecting money so that I can achieve my dreams and build the vision that I see for the world and for the community of Valhalla and all that stuff. It's super important for me to write it down and to track it. Now, here's the thing. It gets really complicated, right? Because you can come up with like, oh, I want to build a new program, and you can kind of start plugging in some things in your days. But if you're leaving your days as very vague, or you're just kind of going all over the place, that creates a little bit of a problem. So what else I do is I also come up with themes of the day. Okay, I break my weeks down into in a couple of different ways, and then allows me to be really, really, really empowered. The first thing I do is I pick a theme of the day. For example, Sundays. Sundays is, football season's coming up. I'm super excited. Go Colts. But Sundays is my day of rest and relax. Okay, it's the only day of the week that I actually take off, and to be honest, most of the time I don't even take it off. It's a catch-up day. It's a day where I like to write. It's a day I like to go out and visit Montreal or hang out with friends. It's a day where I might go and do something more fun or something that is just not work-related. Okay. Mondays is the day that I do a lot of. Currently, I'm actually shifting this, but for the last couple of months, I was one of my only days that I do all my calls, all the private coaching calls that I have, all the calls that I make with anybody who, whether it be somebody who just wants to connect with Valhalla or myself in any capacity, I do on Mondays and Wednesdays. Okay, so those are the days that I'm in like Superhero Academy mode, work mode. They're the only days I actually truly work for money. It doesn't mean I don't collect money in those things than other days, but it's the days where I put more intention into kind of earning a living. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, for example, I work on like big vision projects, things related to Valhalla. So whether it be the Wisdom Designs, which is these new eco-housing plans and this new design firm and lifestyle design firm for that we're going to be coming out with very shortly, and I'm very excited about. I go and see the architects and the people I work with there. Sometimes I have a little bit of a team meeting with True and Thomas now, who are part of the team at Superhero Academy. I work on a podcast. I might work on some graphics or something. I just do creative work, things that don't require me to necessarily get on a phone call with anybody else, but I can really work with the team of people who I'm surrounded with. Fridays is a completely creative day. I do exactly what I want to do. I pick the biggest task in my week, and it's also a cleanup day. It's like anything that I wanted to do this week that for some reason I was too tired, or I just wasn't able to get it done, or I ran into something unexpected. I use that Friday as a day where I can like get through some of those things, as well as work on just something I'm extremely excited about. So today I made a post on Collective Evolution, for example. And then Saturdays is my community day. Saturdays is the day that I go to the physical land of Valhalla, and we go and we, build. Right now we're building an outdoor kitchen, for example, or we build. We moved the solar shed recently. We're doing all kinds of different stuff every single week, and I meet up. I get the tour. I get to meet tons of new people all the time, and so many new faces that come in, and old faces as well. And it's just a great community day. And week after week, I repeat. Now, the genius for me comes in at the beginning of the week, where on Sunday, so for my ability to sleep, on Sunday, what I do is I do a brain dump. At the end of the day, right before I go to bed, I literally write down every possible task that I can think of that I need to get done. Just everything. Literally, imagine your brain spewing out onto a piece of paper. And I write them down one after the other, everything I need to do, so that I can get over the fact that I'm juggling it in my mind. I don't have to take up the mental RAM and capacity that I have. Instead, I can refer to this item on a piece of paper. If I can't write it down on a piece of paper, it's probably not important. And what I do is I start listing everything out, everything from like post this on Facebook, to reach out to this person, to make sure to bill that person, to make sure to talk to this person, whatever it might be, I list it out. And I sleep on it, and on Monday mornings is the most crucial day of every week for me. Monday mornings I wake up early, and every morning I do a little bit of a morning routine. Right now I'm into some Qigong, so it's a nice kind of energy flow movement, Eastern kind of philosophy of way of life. So I do a little bit of that. I do gratitude practice when I wake up in the morning as I'm stretching and I move my toes and stuff. I think about 3 things that I'm very grateful for, including most of the time I say Superhero Academy and my students. And then I often say I'm also very grateful for my bed, just FYI. But then the number one thing I do on Mondays is that I actually write all the things that I had written in my brain dump. I put into days of the week. I actually schedule specific times of the day where I will actually do that task. And the one thing that really I think has helped me rise above the rest is that I pick the 5 most important tasks in that list, and those are the tasks that I absolutely must get done. And I do them first thing in the morning. So for example, today, I had to write something out. I really wanted to do this, and I really had to reach out to this person. And so what I did is I used this technique that I call Power Hour. I bought an hourglass. I have no idea how long it actually lasts. It's supposed to last an hour, but it doesn't. I know it's a little bit longer than that, but I don't actually measure how long it lasts. But Power Hour is a sacred space. It's a sacred time where I spend whatever amount of time this is on that one important task, that one thing that is going to move me closer to this bigger mission, right? And eventually to the bigger vision, right? Because these bigger missions should lead to the bigger visions that day. And I do that task first. It is the first thing I do. And I like to pick the biggest, ugliest, shittiest task. If it's something I keep moving on or something I'm like just not putting on my calendar, I'm not excited to do, that's the task I'm going to do first thing in the morning. Why? Because first thing in the morning, it is the clearest moment that you will ever have in the day, right? Throughout the entire day, all kinds of stuff is happening. All kinds of stuff is getting in your way that is not grounding you. It's making you think about all the emails and Facebook messages and notifications that you're getting bing, 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 bing all day long, and you're starting to react. And when you're reacting, right, reacting to the emails, reacting to your clients, reacting to the notifications, you're not living your plan. You're living the opportunity that is coming to you. That's okay in many senses of the word, but if your goal is to get to your mission and your vision, then you have to live your plan. You have to make that a reality for you. And if you're going to wake up and the first thing you do is check your notifications, your emails, and go and react to other people, then you're not spending enough time acting. You're not spending enough time actually acting in the way that is going to make you move forward one step at a time, day by day. So let me repeat that. Brain dump on Sunday night, all the items that I have in my mind that I have to get done. Some of them I even write out that I deliver to other people, the teammates and different people who might be able to help me with. Some of these items are things that I have to reach out to other people. So if I know in advance, like on Sunday, and I want to speak to somebody on Thursday, I'm going to reach out to them on Monday because that's the time it's going to take for me to schedule that, for example, right? And so by seeing all this list in one kind of space, it allows you to make a game plan, right? How many football teams go out onto the field without a quarterback knowing what the game plan is? How many times do you go out into any sport or anything in life and not have a game plan? When's the last time you went to go watch a Broadway play and they didn't know what their lines were? Okay, it's important to have a game plan. It's important to know what you're doing because that's what leads to the success. So how many of you listening to this right now aren't in that mindset of, well, wait a second, I don't schedule anything. Or I kind of schedule a couple of things, but I just kind of flow through my day. And that's a beautiful thing, right? It's a beautiful thing to be able to just flow through your day. It's a beautiful thing to just kind of wake up in the morning and be like, oh, what's kind of on the agenda today? And you kind of know what's going on, and it's a Tuesday, and so you say, oh, Tuesdays have class or Tuesdays have to be at work. Well, yeah, but what in that class, what beyond those things do you have to do, do you want to do to make you move forward towards that vision? Okay? It is super, super important to plan. It changes absolutely everything. Like I said, it's 42% more likely to achieve your dreams if you write them down. So that's planning, that's scheduling. Okay? But if you plan out when you're going to do it throughout the day and you track some of the most important things in your life, so for me, meeting new people, offering my gift, creating content, and making money, those are the 4 things that I really need to do on a day-to-day basis. There's others, right? I have a personal agenda where I do things like, did I work out? Did I do other stuff? But on a more business level, these are the things that I really talk about. These are really things I really track, and it's super important that you do this. And I know that many, 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 many people do not do this on a day-to-day basis. I know that a lot of people have a lot of trouble making this kind of stuff happen, and they're not able to stay accountable to the dreams and reality that they want to see come to life. So with that in mind, I want to offer you guys something. With your permission, I want to offer you guys the accountability that you might need to make a plan, to make a schedule, to stick to it, and to make your dreams a reality. See, if you want to live a life of purpose, if you want to accumulate wealth in more than just dollars and cents, but in all the things like in networks and in kind of in community, in a sense of belonging, a sense of all the things that really kind of matter in this world, okay, that matter on an interpersonal level, that matter to the world as a whole and to the people around us. If you want to be able to achieve these things, then I know that the one way to doing that is to build yourself a story, to build a plan, to make that mission and that vision come to life, to write it down, and then to do it actively, to think about it regularly. So I embarked on a big mission just not long ago and a couple of months ago, and I embarked on a vision that said I wanted to build a world-class class. It sounds crazy, but I wanted to build like one of the best classes out there, a class that I would have taken 10 times over had I been in university again, right? I graduated in marketing and entrepreneurship, and the only thing I learned there was what I didn't want to do, okay? What I wanted, though, is to make more superheroes. I'm on a mission, in fact, to empower 1 million people to live their dreams, to be real-life, everyday superheroes, people who are taking on some of the most important challenges that our society needs to have addressed right now, okay? And so in that vision, I thought the number one way I can do this is actually make a 52-week class. See, if I can make you stay focused on your goal for 52 weeks, I believe that in 52 weeks you probably have it done. And it maybe your goal or maybe your vision is really big. Maybe it's something that's extends beyond 52 weeks. But nonetheless, you'll have the fundamentals of what it takes to make it a reality. And I could dive into this, and there's so many topics that I've already delved into, like, you know, how to tell an 8-step story to build your new persona, how to document your progress so that other people know of your mission and of what you're doing and what you're making come to life, of understanding your audience, of, you know, things like crowdfunding and team building, of you know, how you can deliver happiness or build a collective flag, right? How can you build a brand and an identity that surrounds you, that people get excited about and that people get behind? How can you make your vision come to life? So I committed to 52 weeks. 52 weeks of teaching every single Wednesday night. So literally tomorrow night, I will be teaching, for example, web development, right? How to make a beautiful website that engages people, that's very simple and easy to create, but that makes and it creates results. And I'm teaching this class over the next 52 weeks, and for every week, we have an hour-long session exactly like the one that you just kind of went through, the exact kind of situation that you just went through, with a weekly challenge, related to the topic, whether it be, you know, tomorrow web development. Hey, look, if you already have an existing website, how can you improve it? If you don't have a website, how can you make one for your idea? And breaking down that challenge in a way that, like, allows you to see the path and to take the time to do it, to take the time to put on your schedule that every Wednesday at 8 p.m., and whether or not you can make it at that time or not, you can watch a recording the next day or whatever, okay, that every week that you are working towards your mission and your vision. Because there is no secret formula to success, ladies and gentlemen. It boils down to how much hard work you're going to put into it and how consistently you're going to do that. If you consistently can keep your focus, just like a magnifying glass on a piece of paper, okay? If you hold that with enough sunlight and the right conditions, if you hold that steady, that's how you start a fire. And if you want to start a fire, if you want to start the fire of your passion, of your vision, of the things that you want to see come to life, then you need to stay focused. You can't be running around with your magnifying glass all over the place, right? You need somebody to keep you accountable. And I know that changed my life. Superhero Academy would not exist today had it not been for the fact that I had hired somebody who was living the dreams that I wanted to see, right? Somebody who had been coaching, somebody who had done programs and kind of courses like this, and then doing that and then taking it further, right? The person who I hired, I paid $2,500 a month for one-on-one weekly calls to build this, and it paid off tenfold. I went from you know, a 5-figure struggle, right, or, you know, maybe a low 6-figure struggle at times with my marketing company and running around from all the different things that I was doing and all these crazy things trying out, to a well above the threshold of a 6-figure salary, doing exactly what I want to do, which is teach people, inspire people, and lead them to their dreams and empower them to be those everyday superheroes. So with that in mind, I created this 52-week class so that people like you can join. You can come in, you can ask questions, you can be a part of the community. We have this separate app called Slack that we use to interact. You can meet other people, other students who are at the same stage as you, or maybe a little bit further than you, who can help you. And you also have access to somebody like me every single day of the week. I answer all my messages within minutes. Most answers within minutes. Almost all answers within 1 or 2 hours, and every single question I get within at least 24 hours. And it's super important that you consider these things as you go on. It's not just, you can't just do this in one day. If you write this one time, you make this happen for 1 week, that's not what's going to lead you there. And so I knew that the consistency for myself was that I had to teach every week. I know that there is no program out there that I know that is 52 weeks long, that also has not only me as a teacher, but guest teachers, so people who I have learned from, who I will bring in from time to time, that will teach other topics that I'm qualified to do, but I'm not necessarily the world expert in. And so I'm going to bring my own mentors to teach you guys these kind of things. And it's simple. 52 weeks, access to the community for life, access to the classes for life, access to all the recordings and all the notes that are taken literally for you from every single class, like this class. So all the notes will be taken for you. Access to asking me questions at any given moment, and access to a Q&A every single week. So for example, tomorrow I'm teaching web development, but if you have a question about one of the first classes or one of the classes that you missed that you went and watched a recording of, you can ask me that question right then and there too. So the investment for such is pretty simple. It's $1,500, and it could be broken down into installments, cash, credit, you name it, whatever works for you, okay? But it's a simple investment in your future. And this is the lowest price it will ever be, okay? This is, right now we're at the 10th week, the 10th class, and we're going to be, we're marching forward once a week with more and more classes and more topics. And I source some of these topics from you. So if you feel there's a class that you want to learn about, you just tell me. You just write to me in one of the classes. You write to me in the Slack community, and we are actually crowdsourcing and building the class to cater to your needs. So the earlier you guys get in, the cheaper the price, and the more of these classes you're going to see live, and the more questions you'll be able to answer. And you will always have access, even beyond the classes, after the next 40 some odd weeks. Okay, you'll always still have access to me. You'll always be able to ask me whatever questions you have that relate specifically to your goal. Okay? And I am super excited to make this happen. I am super excited to see people like you join this classroom. And like I said, as more classes go up, and more students join, the price will actually change very dramatically. I know there's already a couple of people in this room, and I know there's many people who've been kind of signing up over the last little bit. And it's been very life-changing and empowering. I've had, even True himself and Thomas here are people who have been working with me for quite some time, and I would kind of say are mentees of some kind in this business realm a little bit, and they have had an amazing experience. So with that in mind, I really would love to see you being a part of the class. We're going to send you the link right now. If you're interested, you can go and check it out. If you're not interested, no problem. There's no quarrel on such. But I will take any and all of your questions right now. And in the meantime, I would love, whether Yannick and or Thomas, or True and or Thomas, True and Yannick is the same person. In the meantime, while I'm going to grab a sip of water, and I know there's a little bit of delay, tell some of the students a little bit about your experience with Superhero Academy and working with me and that kind of stuff.
Sure. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
All right, cool. So yeah, my name's Tom. I've been working with Mark. I mean, we worked on a bunch of different projects over the years, but I really got heavily involved, I guess, over the past month. And I gotta say, I come from a background of heavy training, heavy corporate structured training programs over weeks and stuff like that. And every week, I'm blown away by the level of thought and seriousness that Mark actually puts into these classes, because he's preaching right now, find your focus, find your gift, figure out what you want to do for people. This is what he should be doing. I'm always amazed by his professionalism, and the quality of the classes is really just something I enjoy watching every week. And I'll be honest, I feel really privileged to get a chance to work side by side with him on a regular basis. It's quite an experience so far, I have to say.
That's awesome. Okay, so maybe True, you got something to say, or maybe I'll just take some of these questions that I've seen come up and come out. No, maybe. Okay. Um, okay, so I see a question here. Melanie asks, is there a paper class option or is it one general subscription fee? So the answer to that is it's a general subscription fee. It's a lifetime membership. So normally when you sign up to a university, you pay per semester or pay per whatever for points that you're getting right towards your kind of your what's it called, your diploma. And in our case, it's a one-time fee, but that gives you access to all the classes that we recorded already, which I've already had an amazing success. I've had people from Utah who her name is Mindy, who's now part of the mastery classes as well. She was somebody who had an idea. She wanted to build this retreat center, but didn't know how, and she ended up instead making a festival to kind of get there. And she launched that festival. She actually had that festival just like 2-3 weeks ago. And I actually went to her festival, and she created that festival in a 2 or 3 months in this classroom. So it was just incredible how to see that something that wasn't even close to an idea realistically, or wasn't mapped out at all, become a manifested reality in 2 to 3 weeks. I had somebody from Romania who signed up, who now is in private coaching as well, who's making only a couple $100 a month, and now has his website up. He's actually doing calls, and he's going to be coaching people now, and he's getting his first clients and stuff. That's incredible. I have somebody who literally quit their $15 day job working as a salesperson in a call center to now build her coaching practice and wellness coaching practice. It's called Clarity Nutrition. Her name is Jenna Knight. She's doing an incredible job serving people, putting out great content, inspiring people to live a more healthy and clear life. And all of these things happen in a short period of time. What I can say, Melanie, is that if anybody isn't sure about this class, or if anybody joins the class and is like, I'm not really sure, I'm not really learning anything, and Mark isn't actually answering my questions or anything, I will give you your money back. Okay? It's a 30-day money-back guarantee. You join, you take the first 4 or 5 classes, whatever it might be, and you're like, you know what, this isn't for me, I'll give you your money back. No problem. Okay? My goal is to create more superheroes. My goal is not to take your money and run with it. I'm here doing these classes because it's the highest thing that I can do. It's my highest purpose, and I'm excited to do it. But I would love to see people like you join. And one other offer that I give out to people is that people who do join, who make the investment, and who come in and love the class, I offer a money-back option. And here's how that works. If you come in and you just love what you're learning, and you think this applies not only to you but to other people in your circles, and you know maybe a group of friends that might be benefiting, you know a business owner that might do really well in rebranding their business and kind of finding their story and figuring out some of these marketing concepts and things that I teach, as well as things like scheduling and planning and helping out on that front. If you know 2 people who are willing to join and they sign up, I will literally give you your money back. I will give you back the tuition that you paid to join the academy, because now you helped me in my mission getting 2 more people close to that million-person objective. That million-person objective is the #1 thing on my list, and I am going to smash it. And the way there is that I offer you guys the opportunity to tell your friends how awesome it is. So it's a win-win scenario. It allows you guys to potentially make your money back and kind of get that tuition back, and it allows me to be able to kind of now have 3 superheroes be a part of the academy and see their dreams come to life. And to me, that's important, because I know that some of the ideas that you guys have in your minds are waiting to bubble out, are waiting to come together, are waiting to create the opportunity that we need to see this stuff, to make this stuff happen. So yeah, that's one of the questions. Tanya, kindly repeat payment scheme. The amount is too high for one-time payment for the Philippines currency. Tanya, it's simple. We can work out something on a 3 or 6 month package. What I'll do is write to me on either Facebook, or write to Thomas or Yannick, and we can send you a piece of information on that front, and that will be, it'll make it much simpler and easier for you. But just kind of quickly, it allows you to, break down the payments, all the way down to like $350 a month instead of, $1,500 or whatever it might be. So it makes it much more manageable without a doubt. Sean, good night, Mark. It's late here in Ireland. Thanks so much for the class. I'm going to hunt for 2 heroes. Sean, yes, I'd love to see that. Hey, Mark, how much more is mastery from Apprentice? So Apprentice was Brendan. Actually, I know you. You ended up paying when you had first joined. The price was at $300. Now Apprentice is actually at $500. And the jump is an extra $1,000 basically for you. So because you are already part of the initial class, I do allow people to upgrade. So for those who might not be able to afford this, I do have a kind of cheaper option. It's the first 12 classes. It's a much more kind of the basics of building your own business and building this stuff out is a $500 option. And it's a little bit more affordable for people. It's the right kind of way that people can step in, see if they like it, if it's for them, and then they can upgrade later. It's a very great option, but I do know that, and Brendan, maybe you can attest to this, I do know that on a week-to-week basis, when you have this kind of class to show up to and you have these things to kind of think about, it's kind of important, and it actually leads to more success. And it leads to you kind of being accountable, showing up, being inspired, and being like, yeah, shit, I need to do that, or I said I was going to do this challenge and I didn't do it. So it leads to all of those different things kind of happening. Let's see if there's any other questions that I missed. So I'm going to take a sip of water, see if there's any questions that are coming in. Who's still here? Rachel, Daniel, Seth, Simon, Carol. Do you guys have any questions left? Daniel, do you have a weekly challenge for our prospective heroes? My challenge would be to do a giant brain dump, Daniel, if you can, this week. And I would make them ideally try and plan out their next week. So figure out what these things are that they would like to track, do a brain dump, and then write down and plan out 1 week in this manner. And then ideally you carry this through over a month and then over many months and over time. Can you go over the theme of your days again and what yours are? Daniel, okay, yeah, no problem. So the theme of my days it's very simple. For me, Sundays is my day of rest and relax. It's a day where I get to do whatever I want to do. So whether it be watching, a Netflix series and binging on that, or whether it be going out into town with a group of friends, whether it be writing a blog, whether it be doing whatever I feel like doing, right? Sundays. But the only task that I have is at the end of Sunday night, before I go to bed, I do a brain dump. I write all the things that I have to do that week onto one piece of paper, all the things that, not even that week, but just that I can think of that I need to be doing, period. All the items as much as possible that I can think of, and sometimes I refer to the week before because I don't always get everything done, right? As an entrepreneur, you have an endless list of things, and I think in life you have an endless list of things. Mondays and Wednesdays for me are days where I am teaching. They're days where I am doing Superhero Academy calls, where I'm doing private coaching calls, where I'm talking about the different things that we need to get done here at Superhero Academy, where I'm literally doing the things, the groundwork, and the time that I need to put in to making this classroom a reality, okay? To making all the things that do with the website, anything and everything that deals with that. The Tuesdays and Thursdays are days where I work on Valhalla-related stuff or just any other projects, future projects that I think are important. So, for example, if my project was to build a new program, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm going to work on that program. Okay, so Mondays and Wednesdays I'm going to do the things that I've already committed to, teaching these classes, doing these things. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do new stuff. I prospect. I work on things that aren't part of like the daily routine of serving people. And on Fridays is my sweep up day. It's the day that I use to finish off all the tasks that I was for some reason not able to do that week, all the tasks that are important, and it's also very much a creative day. It's a day where I do more writing or more editing. It's a day where I work on like a very big vision versus some of the more day-to-day things and the smaller kind of missions. It's just a day where I really do not take any calls at all for sure, because sometimes on Tuesdays and Thursdays I'll take a couple if somebody can't speak on a Monday or Wednesday. But on Fridays I absolutely take none. And then on Saturdays is my community day. Saturday is the day that I actually go out to Valhalla, have a great time. We make pizza, we plant trees, we do all kinds of different stuff. We actually physically are building the Valhalla community there, and that's a lot of fun there. Jeff, thanks for the info, Mark. Hopefully I'll see you at Valhalla Crew sometime next summer. In the meantime, I'll be making an impossible list of my own. So glad to hear your voice and ideas as always. Jeff, man, I love you. Super happy to hear from you too. And Jeff is somebody who came from Arizona, who visited us at Valhalla and stayed with us for quite some time. And his goal is to do a whole lot of really interesting stuff down in Arizona, and including spreading the Valhalla vibe and stuff too. So, hey man, dude, I hope that that impossible list really helps you out, and I know it did for me. Okay, sounds good. Maybe one day. Learned from the class and considering joining Manuel's coaching if possible. Brendan, yeah, Manuel's doing a great job coaching. I'm coaching him, and he's doing a phenomenal job. So, I see Tanya. Tanya, are you still here? Yeah, you're still here. So I see a couple of questions, I think, or at least I saw you type a lot of stuff. Tanya, my daughter would love this routine. She taught me toe tapping routine. I'd love to hear what that is. I love the idea of gamifying our lives. Yeah, it's great. So Tanya asked at one point earlier, isn't that highly possible for more financially privileged individuals? How can the odds favor the poor who have similar dreams as yours? Tanya, to be honest, I was poor, right? When I started all of this stuff, I had $0 and 0 cents. I mean, I don't know how much poorer it gets than that, right? I all of these visions are things that came to me over time. And so there is a lot of things that have happened between then, but it's because of this daily routine that these things actually manifested. So I believe that anybody could make this kind of money. I believe that anybody, if they get clear and focused enough and they create very clear offers, these are things that I teach in that class. I have a whole class on creating an offer and being clear on that. If they create their own stories, then they will actually be very much empowered to do that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think it would be, it's definitely doable without a doubt. This is my only second time to join a webinar. I love it. First one with Celine, Creatives of Good. Thank you so much for people like you. It's a great experience to be able to reach out unexpected places like ours here. Yeah, webinars are great. They're an amazing medium. They allow me to speak literally to the world and to people from all over the world, and I think it's just so empowering, so much fun. I love the questions. I actually learn a whole lot every time I do this, even on a level of like, what did I say right? What did I do wrong? For today I forgot to bring water. So there's all kinds of little things that you figure out, and you figure out the bugs and you make happen. And I know that it's also very powerful. I know that these webinars have changed people's lives for some of my students over the last couple of weeks and months. And I know it's changing lives right at this very second, which is also awesome. So, Tanya, I would love to see and hear a little bit more about what you have in mind and your vision and your mission and stuff as well. I'm getting some private messages here too. I'm literally getting text messages from people. Okay. Any more questions, ladies and gentlemen? By the way, if you guys do have any questions, you guys are considering this, just send us a shout. You can go and write to us at explore@superheroacademy.net. So Superhero Academy, one word, .net. Explore@superheroacademy.net if you have any questions, and we will gladly answer them. And if you have any concerns or whatever it might be as well. Oh, actually, I know what's going on here. Brendan, I know this is something you got to work on. I know this is something you've been struggling a little bit with. And if anything, rewatch this class and build yourself a little bit of a process and stick to it, man. It's definitely going to help you. This is really, really going to help you. Brendan, go for it, man. Love to see you. Love to see you join. So who is still here? There's a couple of you. Do you guys have any more questions? I'll take 1 or 2 more minutes just to wait. If there's none, then we'll go for it. Yeah, in our context, I realize it's only our not only financial resources we need to be able to pull the project we really love to do, but also having emotional resources that is establishing social ties with like-minded people and organizations. Tanya, to be honest, the money and the financial piece is actually, I would say it's a smaller piece than the story, than all kinds of other things that you need to do. Creating connections, finding partners, building a team. You can raise money with crowdfunding. You can raise money just with a story. And I've done this many times, and Valhalla has too. So there are many ways to make the financial resources that you need to make a project and an idea happen. And to be honest, the financial resources is not the first step. Because even if I gave you $1 million today, I'd say, okay, what are you going to do with it? If you didn't have a game plan, then why would I give you the $1 million? You're never going to get that $1 million. You're never going to be able to save that $1 million working some job or whatever amount of money that you need. It's going to be very tough to do that unless you actually know what the job is first, or what that mission and the vision is first. Anyway, so I think it's a very important thing. Melanie, I don't know where you're from, so it depends if you're French or English. Great class, Mark. You the bomb. Thank you so much. Thank you. Actually, I think I know who that might be. I saw the emails of people who signed up. So. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's that time. Seems like your questions are dying down. Like I said, explore@superheroacademy.net if you have any questions, and we will, answer them as promptly and as quickly as we possibly can. So, yeah, we'll talk soon, and thank you so much for being and doing the things that you guys do. Thank you so much for even kind of enjoying something like this or showing up. It's always encouraging to me. It's always fun. It's just such a pleasure, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.